Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is Shirley M, and you are watching the Shirley M Real channel. Today, we have a very exciting topic because it is something that a lot of people have to deal with. And if you can't guess what it is, it's customers. We're going to discuss how to acknowledge different types of customers. There's two main types of customers that you will come across, and some ways to spot them, meaning that catching them on early so you can understand what kind of person you're going to be dealing with. And then I'm going to give you some takeaways, of course, to help you just know how to work with the customer that you have. Someone that may be easy, someone that may be difficult. Okay, so for your business, let's say I'm gonna give you guys a scenario. Let's say you are in the production of pens. I have a pen right here. So you are in the production of pens and you have customers that are signed up on automatic subscription or monthly service where they'll be billed and they get shipped a pen or a product or whatever it may be that they'll be getting from you. So for this particular scenario, what ends up happening, the customer was billed for the pen, right? They were unaware of the policy. They do not know what's the cancellation policy. This is the first time they ordered and it was a great deal. So they really didn't pay attention to the cancellation policy. Now, this is something that they don't often do. So they're unfamiliar of how the subscription or how the automatic service is going to work. This is something they just ordered kind of off the bat, right? Then they failed to look at their credit cards. We know that a lot of customers fail to check their statements from time to time, and they'll have a charge and they'll forget 3 months, 4 months down the line, and then they'll call saying, what is this charge? Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the different things that will be said based on the customer. Customer one, they take accountability. They know that's something they failed to do or failed to act on, and they approach you in the same manner. We call these the accountability customers. Now, you do have the blame customer. That's on the opposite side of the spectrum. The blame customer is the person who will say, well, you didn't tell me, and they will expect you to be the one to do the legwork for them. And you're supposed to provide them all the details so that they don't have to do nothing. That's why they are blaming you as the business owner, as the representative, to know why you build them. Those are the main two customers you'll have to be dealing with pretty much as soon as they walk into your store, or if it's a phone call. You will already know that you're going to have an easy customer that's going to be able to take accountability and you can service them very, very easily. Or you're going to have a blame customer that's going to blame you as the business owner for everything. Okay, so you have to prepare yourself for that. So I'm going to give you a few wordings, few things that you will hear that can help you recognize, okay, which customer am I going to deal with at this moment? So for the blame customer, one of the things that they're going to say is, you guys charge my card and I don't know who you are. So why did you charge my card? That's going to be most likely the first thing when they call. They say, I got a charge and I don't know who you guys are. Why did you charge my card? Now, an accountability customer will be more will show that, hey, I don't know what this is, in a more softer tone, of course. They will say, I saw a charge on my card. I have no idea what it is. Do you think you can help me? So when a customer comes like that, you can already know that they want to be helped. They're not accusing you of anything, but they just want to understand what this charge is for. So a blame customer will say, I don't remember buying this. I don't want it and I don't use it. So the last phrase example that I have you will hear from a customer is, let's say your company does provide reminders or notices, and maybe this customer particularly did not get it or did not even bother to look for it. Now, a blame customer, of course, will bring it back to you as the business and say, I didn't get any emails. It probably went to junk. So I'm unaware that this was going to happen. So it's not my fault. Now, an accountability customer, of course, will say similar, but it will use a different language. It will be more so of, we'll ask questions. Did you guys send a reminder? Maybe I missed it. So then again, they of course say maybe it is their fault. Maybe it came, but they just didn't get a chance to see it. While their counterparts is of course saying you guys are the ones that did not send it out. So that's going to be the difference between the two. All right. So now we're going to discuss how to spot these customers. What is it that you have to look for to spot the kind of customer you have? One is the reason for their call, the reason for them reaching out to you. If they come to you in a form of a question, hey, I have a charge on my credit card, can you help me out? Then they're looking to seek for you to help them. Compared to them making statements or making accusations, there's going to be a big difference of what is the first word once they approach your business. Second is the clarity. What kind of clarity are they looking for? Now, it's one thing for them to open to knowing what the transaction was, what this may be, what did they order, compared to the other counterpart where they're just telling you they don't even care what it is. They don't even want to hear about it. So if they're looking to seek clarity from you, then they want to know what's going on. The blame customer is going to give you more of a pushback. They don't even care what you have to say. They just want this to be taken care of. Another way to spot them is what their options are. What can be done? They want to know what can be done. What are you able to help them with? However, their counterpart wants you to do something right now. All right, so the fourth way you can spot the customers is by what they say in terms of how they're going to prevent this from reoccurring. So the accountability customer will make it more like you do something and I'll do something. If you guys send me an email, I'll definitely keep an eye out and reach out beforehand to make the cancellation. So this way it's the business and the customer both going to do something to prevent this from not happening again. Now, the blame customer, of course, will only be trying to cover for themselves, making sure that you do not charge them again. You do not send the information out. You do something, not necessarily them, because they are not the one to blame. They're not the reason why this happened in the first place. So keep an eye out for what the customer is stating when it's how to prevent them from having this problem again in the future. Now, the last way to spot these customers is to see how they take responsibility. The blame customer, of course, they're going to blame the business for the lack of knowledge. They're going to blame the business for not knowing that they were going to be billed, not getting the email, not being informed of the charge. So everything is going to be blamed on the business. Now, for a accountability customer, they are going to recognize that it was their lack of action, their lack of not finding the emails, their lack of not checking their credit card, and they're taking equal responsibility for the charge. All right, now that we've already discussed two types of customers that are out there, I've also given you how to spot them based on what they're going to say, what to look for, and how they approach certain situations, right? So here's just a few takeaways that I need you to always keep in mind whenever somebody walks into your business or you're calling a customer for whatever reason. Be ready for either customer. You always want to position yourself to be ready to take the customer, whether there's going to be an easy one or it's going to be a complex one. So always have your team as well as yourself always ready to be able to address either concerns from a very easy customer or a very difficult customer. 2, know your policy, process, and procedures. I call those 3 Ps. Know this so you already know how to handle these customers. If you have a team, either representative, cashiers, or phone agents, be sure that they already know what is the policy, know the process to solve the problem, and the procedures. One thing you do not want is one customer may be very, very patient and allowing your representative to take their time to figure it out. But an upset customer or a very blame customer is going to blame your team for not knowing the policies, the process, and procedures. And you do not want your your blame customer to be unhappy with what is the issue they're calling about. And on top of that, knowing that your team is not prepared to solve them. So be sure that your team knows your company policy, the process to solve these problems, and the procedures, so it can be very, very easy. All right, now takeaway 3. Be empowered and empower your team to manage the conversation. You want to be sure whichever customer you get, that your team knows how to manage the conversation. A lot of times when a customer is a blame customer, they will just keep talking and talking and talking. You want to empower your team to be able to control the situation and control the conversation. We know that everybody's emotions are high when they're upset. So you want your team to be able to manage a good customer that's going to be easy and a very difficult customer. So that is something you may have to continue to work with your team to make sure that they can be able to think quick on their feet depending on the customer, but also make sure that they're managing the conversation so it doesn't turn to chaos. All right, takeaway number 4, always know when you want to win your customer over. This is simply stating at what point of the conversation are you going to already let the customer know that, hey, whatever you have going on, whatever transaction, whatever you're upset about, we're going to change your mind. We're going to do something, either say something or do something that's going to switch from your position to something that's very calm, that's very easy, that you feel comfortable with, that we are going to make you love us again. At some point throughout the beginning, all the way to the end of the transaction or the conversation, you want to know, when are we going to instantly change the customer's mind and get them to be on our good side? Okay, so you want to kind of have that conversation with your team so they know, when do we want to solve this customer's problem, but also go beyond where they feel like they're getting something special, something extra. The last takeaway, guys, the last takeaway that I have here: know how you want the conversation or the experience to end. Now, it is great, and not a lot of customers will be happy when you cancel and refund something that they wanted you to do, especially when you can resolve their problem by doing exactly what they requested. However, sometimes it may not work that easy. Sometimes you do have to let them down and disappoint them, but you want them to still feel confident in the business or still be able to come back. So this is why you want to make sure your team is aware. Regardless what happens, this is how we want to make sure the customer walks out feeling or knowing about the company. And we always want positive. So make sure you work with your team to kind of establish, how is the end of the conversation going to end, regardless of what kind of customer you're dealing with. Okay, we have reached the end of this conversation about customers. Now, we recognize the 2 types of customers: the accountability customer and, of course, the blame customers. There's plenty more, but these are the first 2 that you're going to always come across, and you're going to know how to kind of recognize them and then see what you can do with your team to make sure you're solving their problems or the issues right away. I hope that this information was very, very helpful. Please let me know, what kind of customers you have. What are your frequent customers like? Because if you get a lot of great customers, that's great. If you have a lot of problem customers too, you might want to see what can be done about your business, what areas in the business that needs to be changed, so you can revert to transform that customer experience to a positive one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to catch up with us again in the future. Subscribe if you would like to, so that you can learn more about just giving that customer experience and to really get your team on board and providing that great customer service within your company. Thank you so much. Have yourself a great week. See you next time.